Beauty is a drug that you can't abstain from unless you literally keep your eyes closed at all times. Ted Chiang. I don't know if it's just my For You page, but my timeline is flooded with videos about fashion tips, mewing, mogging, 69-step skincare routine, rule of thirds, jawline. It's almost overwhelming. But to be honest though, I've also learned a lot from it. Now there are two types of videos on YouTube. One is constantly peddling these look obsessed trends, trend after trend after trend, and the other is completely dogpiling on it. My goal here, as it is in every video, to find out what is an unhealthy obsession with it versus what passes the vibe check for me. There are actually some things I've incorporated into my own routine. Some things like gua sha, consistent sunscreen, shopping for clothes using Pinterest, better hair care routine, tinkering more with my diet and exercise, plus way more other things. I'm gonna talk about my specific routines towards the end of the video, but I first kind of wanted to talk about the dynamics of how we relate to our own looks. I think a lot of our problems just stems with how we view ourselves first. So I started my video with that Ted Chiang quote, his short story, Liking What You See, a documentary. The premise of that short story is that there's basically a medical device that's implanted on people's brain that lets people become unbiased about aesthetics. It basically lets you become look blind. You'll still be able to see different faces, but the purely aesthetic appeal of a face will not have a pull to you. The story is mostly a discussion from different perspectives about whether or not you should get that device or not. And I think it's really fun to read. The fact is, we know that if there are two equally qualified people for a job, the better looking person will almost always get that. Even if there is a skill discrepancies between those two people, more than likely the better looking person will be able to get away with it despite being less qualified. People that are ranked as being better looking have higher salaries, better career outcomes, more success in dating, and even things like better court case outcomes. Just think about all the famous mugshots you've seen of guys and girls. In general, good-looking people just get away with more bad behavior. I have mentioned this show before, but if you've ever checked out the Netflix webtoon called Lookism, it is a powerful display of how much pure looks drives things like bullying among kids and how looking better could completely drastically change entire social life. This is a pure example of a biological blindness we have, a blindness that doesn't really offer any real merit. So I asked myself, if I was in Ted Chiang's world, would I really use that device? I mean, it doesn't make sense rationally to use it, right? Is looks about health? Some markers of good looks, like nice skin, teeth, symmetry, leanness of your body, are associated with health, but they could still probably be achieved through unhealthy means. And at the same time, I still enjoy looking at models and randomly aesthetically driven looks like this. I also don't think what's culturally deemed beautiful is always the healthiest thing either, i.e. eating disorders in both males and females. This isn't a one-to-one mapping of anything. So health is not always associated with looks, and looks isn't always associated with health. So why is it that I'm so reluctant to use that device from Ted Chiang's book? I think part of it is biological, of course, but I think the other aspect for me is the idea of art and style. For example, in this dress, it's not necessarily like, I don't know, sexy or something like that, but the way the dress is worn, the way the makeup is styled, it gives a lot of harmony and grace. That is definitely not about health. That's clearly about aesthetics. There's like a unique charm to it. Now that being said, obviously good looking people could still get away with dressing in a more unique fashion and having a more unique look versus other people can't. There's definitely other things than just pure health markers affecting the way we view things. A lot of it is just purely biological impulse. And part of it is art. So why don't I want to give it up? I think one of the biggest factor in that is the understanding that I believe I could overcome those biases. I feel like if I was to use that type of device, I would be blind to the possibility that it's possible to have love for the sake of love. And I guess in that sense, there is a level of objectivity, and that I could have like a clear, impartial mind for people, even if I don't view them as being attractive. I know I've experienced love like that, the feeling of understanding and love for even for strangers that I don't have any appeal towards. But I know that this is a trainable process. In my head, if my brain falsely determines something as a flaw, like an acne or a messed up jaw, then I want to be confident that I could overcome my own stupid bias, if that makes sense. Plus, I feel like it's not just good looks that bias people. People with prettier voices, better command of language, better command of language, can also easily influence people, even if they don't have good points. Think about all the politicians we have that never even talk about their policies and still win because of pure charisma. So other things like charisma, relatability, sound, grammar, diction, the way you're put together. These are all other factors that could easily control me as well. Even things like being able to spin your story correctly can easily influence people. That's basically marketing. I just recently watched Dude. It's kind of a similar example to that. Paul Atreides has been bred from generation to generation to have a better voice command. This, combined with the myth of the Lisan al-Gaib, has a powerful effect of people seeing him as a prophet. So, the way we move, our swagger, our style, our way of talking, these are all things that could control how other people view us. And some people are born with it, some people are not. So if I use Ted Chiang's look ending device, when do we stop / draw the line? Do we just need to filter everything? This is something that's always bothered me in some ways. The fact that I'm controlled by such primal basic things, ignoring it is probably not the best option. I want to be beyond it in some ways. So that's why I don't think I want to be fully look blind. I just want to be fair and impartial as possible. So anyway, this is a video about look maxing. So I'm going to talk about some things that I started incorporating. This part is considered health protocols. I think they're more proven. One thing that I've been very aware of recently is my dental health. I went to the dentist for the first time in like 15 years and turns out I have cavities. As you can see, my bottom teeth is kind of schmacked. I'm barely 25. I don't even eat sugar like that. So why am I getting that shit? So recently I've been flossing better. I invested in an electric toothbrush and I've been chewing xylitol gum like a lot. It's supposed to help. I don't know if it has. I will probably also get Invisalign soon, just so that the gaps are better and it doesn't get dirtier across time. And it's also nice to have better teeth, I guess. My top teeth are good though. Another thing I've been doing is sunlight and skincare. I get sunlight every day, but I also always use sunscreen, specifically a Korean one. I also use this retinoid cream most of the time during nighttime. Another thing that I do definitely focus on is nasal breathing. Right now it's not a good example because allergies have completely my nasal passage. But usually I strictly breathe through my nose unless I'm working out or talking. It's supposed to prevent diseases and it makes your jaw look much better. Look at these jaws. The other main thing that I've already made a tons of videos about is exercise, doing some sort of resistance training plus cardio. There are a lot more things that go into this as well. There is like a beauty to programming and an art to it. Whatever we do from the basics is just great. Also goes with that saying that diet is probably a very important part of health maxing protocol. So one thing that I've added even more of after watching these videos is probiotics. I'm trying to get my skin to glow. But yeah, I eat about 0.8 grams of protein, lots of whole foods, carrots, sweet potatoes, peppers, tomatoes. Those type of colorful food also add a lot to your skin health. For probiotics, kimchi is my go-to, but I also do kombucha and kefir and yogurt all day, every day with every meal. It tastes good, you know? And so those are the more proven health maxing protocols. I've also tried some of the less known, less proven look maxing type of protocol. I hope have health benefits as well. I don't know if gua sha does anything, but it's traditional. My face does look shinier and slimmer. I don't know if that's a goal for all of you. It might not be. You might not care. It's supposed to be healthy for blood flow or something. Traditional Chinese medicine. But no studies have actually proven that. But I would try it. It doesn't hurt, right? Mewing. That's another controversial one. This is where you're supposed to rest your tongue at the roof of your mouth and kind of make a gentle sucking motion. According to the legend, this is supposed to be the real jaw resting position. Ideally, it'll give you more defined look, better formation of teeth, and chiseled jaw. I don't know if my tongue is usually rested there. Now I'm definitely more conscious of it. Again, I don't think it hurts necessarily, so try it out. Neck training is another thing I've added. I mostly just do isometrics like this, like across a wall. It's good for your posture since we're always like doing this while reading and stuff, so I'm mindful of my neck. I also do it with weights occasionally, but mostly just isometric stuff. Another thing I swear by is coconut oil. I've always used coconut oil because it's been really good for my skin. I don't know if that's true for everyone, but I swear it does something to my skin. While I do use like a facial cleanser, a basic one, I don't use any strong acne creams. I find that it makes my skin kind of dry. I've also heard a lot of bad things about it. Like the FDA talked about how the level of carcinogens in that is like way above what it's supposed to be. So I also don't struggle with acne that much, so I don't really bother with that. People use other things in TikTok skincare routine, things like snail mucus and stuff like that. It looks like semen, so I'm good, bro. I'm good on that. Not for me, but you might give it a go and maybe it'll help you. And also don't worry about it if you're broke. That's not something you should be spending your money on probably. A lot of skincare and look matching stuff is probably very scammy. This is why it's important to keep in mind what I said earlier. Our understanding and the way we feel about this stuff is more important than the actual protocols probably. The basics is obviously more important. The rest is just extra stuff if you want. Do the basics, stay healthy, and have a right frame of mind about looks. Because you feel better, you'll probably be less influenced by trends and cultural beauty forces. And thus, we could take steps to overcome lookism while also promoting health and being in style. I hope that video helped. Like, comment, subscribe.